Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Ashley.
Hello, darling. We're back. What's going on?
I am just so excited. We have a special guest with us today for this recap. I am just, again, ecstatic. I'm always so giddy, so please bear with me, everybody, as I introduce y'all to a certified boss. I'm talking about Erikka Gray, aka at Coach Erikka. She is the founder of Vibe District 78, co-founder of Paul Cincy, and a total vibe. Welcome, Erikka, to our podcast.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. I feel like a celebrity, kind of.
You should. First of all, the things that you and your wife do in the city of Cincinnati is just phenomenal. I didn't even mention girls' health, period. And then I was telling Ashley this before we started recording. Your beautiful wife does my hair. Mm-hmm. Shout out Brittany at the Hair Kitchen. I love y'all so much. And fun fact, y'all love some Beyonce. Is that correct?
The Hive is definitely in the building. August 23rd, Phoenix, Arizona. No, the concert's the 24th, actually. But our anniversary is the 23rd. So it's kind of like the anniversary.
Nice. Made it something real special. Yeah, I'll be going. Yes. Delora's already been. Delora went to the show in Chicago. And I'm going in a couple of weeks to the Miami show. So I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm like, the countdown is it's real. Not even a couple weeks, it's a week. It's a week away now at this point. Time has gone fast.
It came so quickly. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to see Beyonce. And then it's like, oh, it's next week. And oh yeah, it happened. So y'all are lucky because I feel like after Chicago, she started switching up these outfits more often.
She's been killing it. It's an unlimited budget. Like, she is killing it. I'm excited for Atlanta. Like, I'm excited for the Atlanta outfits. Tonight is Charlotte. And I'm really excited for what she's going to pull for Atlanta because, like, that's where all the stars be at. So you really got to show up and show out.
Yeah. Absolutely. And LA, I'm sure her LA show is going to be amazing. Yep.
Yeah. If I hit the lottery between now and then, I'm going.
I saw her in Chicago, but that energy for New York was different. So I know,
of course, you got
to. Her birthday and everything, but it's wonderful. So, I'm sure Beyonce was probably a subject of one of the cards of the game that we're going to be talking about today. Ooh. Y'all, we are recapping The Blackening 2023. It is a horror comedy. It's an hour and 36 minutes long, rated R. It is available digitally. Here's a quick summary. The Blackening centers around a group of Black friends who reunite for a Juneteenth weekend getaway, only to find themselves trapped in a remote cabin with a twisted killer. Forced to play by his rules, the friends soon realize this ain't no mother effing game. Directed by
Is that Tim literally Story. In the summary?
Yes, it is. Who is the director of The Ride Along, Think Like a Man, and Barbershop, and co-written by Tracy Oliver of Girls Trip in Harlem and Dwayne Perkins. He's known for his work on The Amber Griffin Show and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The Blackening skews genre tropes and poses for the sardonic question: if the entire cast of a horror film is Black, who dies first? This movie stars Grace Byers as Allison, Jermaine Fowler as Clifton, Melvin Gregg as King, X Mayo as Shanika, Dwayne Perkins as Dwayne, Antoinette Robertson as Lisa, Sequay Walls as Namdi, Jay Farrell as Sean, Yvonne Orji as Morgan, and Dietrich Bader as Ranger White. All right, y'all. The movie was released June 16th, just in time for Juneteenth. It became available on streaming July 7th. Rotten Tomatoes gave this film 87% by the critics, 85% by the audience. Google users gave this film 83%. Erikka, since you are our lovely guest, what's your grade for The Blackening?
I'm gonna give it it's a B plus. It's a B plus for me. I really liked it. I love the genre of it. I love the comedy, satire, horror vibe of it. So yes. I'm definitely a B pluser.
Nice. All right. What about you, Ashley? I know this is a little bit spookier than what you like, but I was like, bear with me, Ashley. Hear me out. Let's watch The Blackening.
And I was stressed watching this film. I did this for the culture. When I tell y'all, I was pausing, I was getting up out my seat, I was pacing. I'm like, oh my God, who's going to make it? Like, just tell me now, because I do not want to see a bunch of gruesome deaths, especially because I love this cast. Like, we're talking about some who's who from other projects being pulled together in one thing together. I didn't want to see anybody go. So it's a B plus for me too, Erikka, because while I'm not a horror fan, I so appreciated the humor and relatability of the dialogue of the project. And like I said, the cast was just a good time. So I also give it a B plus. What about you, Delora?
It's a full house. I gave it a B plus too. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It is giving peak scary movie vibes a la 2000. I even put down our recent recap of Swarm and They Clone Tyrone with, very Black, very hilarious, very much our humor, a good time. The only thing that I had issue with is, it was, some of the jokes went on a little bit too long, but other than that, it was a good time. So let's go ahead and get into our spoiler alert. 10 years from their last meeting, 9 friends travel to a cabin in the woods to celebrate Juneteenth. Mind you, this cabin is owned by white people. Is a cabin in the woods a prime location for a Juneteenth celebration?
Not for me. We just talked about the fact that I don't go nowhere that has cornfields and ish past 3 p.m. So the fact that y'all expect me to go to as soon as she pulled up to that gas station, I said, oh, hell nah. There's no way. Why did y'all choose this location? What's nearby? If I don't even see a Walmart, and I hate Walmart, but if I don't even see a Walmart,
listen, nah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a hard no for me. It's a chop. It's absolutely not. There's no reason on Juneteenth that we need to be in a wooded area without celebrating with our fellow Juneteenthian, aka Black people. So why are we not somewhere celebrating? Why are we not in DC? Why are we not in Chicago and Atlanta? I'm just Detroit. Not sure why Detroit, why are we just not, in Tulsa, Black Wall Street? Why are we not these places? I'm just not going to the woods. It's just no, absolutely not. Like you said, the further we get down the road, I start seeing less and less cars, less and less houses. And really, like you said, Walmart is a hard slow for me. I need a Target. I'm a red dot boutique type of girl. And
Target.
Yes, Target boutique all day. Walmart, really don't even want to step. I don't even want to order nothing from them online. So it's a no. It's absolutely no.
Listen, I am right there with you. I mean, yeah, cabin in the woods is not a prime location in my personal opinion at all. I mean, I do love a good cabin moment. Don't get me wrong, but I appreciate how the movie is centering Blackness by highlighting this holiday, though. So bravo to you all. So Morgan and Sean are a couple, and they're the first to arrive. There's this green door that opens, which is giving me major Insidious vibes. Y'all know about that horror film?
I don't watch that stuff.
The red
Brittany don't watch horror movies either at all. So she was like, I was like, you want to watch it with me? She was like, is there any type of killing, screaming blood? I was like, yeah. She was like, it's a no. So yeah, we don't watch horror movies in this house. And that was as hoary as we gonna get here. So I had to watch that when she was at work.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, it's a game room where the most undesirable looking game is on the table. I was getting real Jumanji vibes, by the way. Did y'all feel that?
Absolutely, Jumanji. Absolutely.
Agree.
So the lights flicker. Of course, it starts talking and it tells them to pick a card. And if they get the answer wrong, then it's a wrap for them. My question to you is, can y'all name one movie where the Black person survives? One horror movie where the Black person survives?
The only one I could think of, again, I couldn't remember, is that Brandy survived. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I remember Mekhi Phifer dying, but I don't remember Brandy dying. But I don't know if I'm not confident enough in that answer to know for sure.
Yeah.
But then we can say Get Out now. We could say Get Out. We could say he survived.
Touche.
That's true. I would have been dead. Number one, I wouldn't win in the room. So that's number one. But
listen,
in the room,
and played a random game with a blackface weird character talking to me. I was like, it's not just Jumanji, it's like it as well. Like, why would I follow the direction of some weird thing that's talking to me strangely? Like, this is some demonic spirit. Let me get out of here.
No.
Two comes to mind: Deep Blue Sea, LL Cool J.
I remember that. Yes.
Y'all don't see that.
He still got maimed, but he survived.
He did survive. Yeah.
His leg, poor baby.
Mm-hmm. And then Alien versus Predator, Sanaa Lathan back in 2004. Do y'all remember that?
Dang.
I don't know if I watched that whole movie. I think I watched a little bit of it.
I didn't remember that.
But are those considered horror, Delora? Do you consider those to be horror movies,
monsters.
You think?
They're under attack. Yeah,
they're under attack.
You're under attack.
So anytime black folks are under attack would qualify.
Yeah, that's horror. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, all of that.
Wait. Hence all the social horror films that have been coming out in the last, when did Get Out come out? 5 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, under something attack. Like that.
You said under attack.
If we're under attack, it's a horror movie and we survive, so...
So Sean doesn't take the game serious and he doesn't make it, which leaves Morgan behind, scared and alone. So we have the next day, we have Lisa, Allison, and Dwayne driving down together, discussing the main conflict of this movie, which is the relationship, the on again, off again relationship between Lisa and Nnamdi. Shanika drives down by herself and she makes a pit stop at the gas station where she runs into Clifton and she meets some very intimidating white men there.
Not just intimidating, it was like the heels have eyes type shit.
Yeah, right. I mean, his eye was like he didn't even have a patch. He just let the skin just grow down on it.
And then you come out from the behind the counter and are stalking after me.
I would have left that barefoot in there and kept it moving.
Exactly. What's your first impressions of the group dynamics this early on?
Classic cliche gay guy in the car, like just right off the rip. And, you got the two friends, like you said, they had the little girl talk without saying nothing. They were saying something. So I appreciated that. You can tell that they spent some time around each other. They got a little history. And when they mentioned, I forget his name, the ex-boyfriend, that it kind of got a little tense. Nnamdi. Yeah. What movie did he just recently play in? I kept drawing a blank.
White Man Can't Jump.
That's the one I just seen.
Another one. This is our third film of his, by the way, Ashley.
Yes, Resort to Love with Christina Milian as well, with his fine face.
Okay, I didn't see that one, but I did see White Man Come. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, you could tell that they had some history and that he was kind of like a point of contention because Dwayne kind of like, even though he didn't know it was him, I'm sure he had a pretty good idea.
Yes.
And it's just like friends. Like, you want to protect your friend, and he kind of like, I hope it ain't, who I think it is. And they like, always going back to the old fling. But I appreciate it, and this is kind of like an underlying thing, but I appreciated that they had a G-Wagon and that we was doing well when they pulled up,
Yes.
Like, I appreciate
it was
small details like that. Yes. And I'm like, come on with the G-Wagon, with the, coming through. Black people done graduated college, they got a little something.
I needed her to have a better wig though, Lisa.
Yeah, it was a lot of wigs. It was a lot of hair situations.
It was distracting.
At least she looked good with short hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it was, at least she still had, face card didn't decline. She still had a beautiful face.
Face card never declines.
My God.
I have to say real quick though,
Boo Boo Kitty. That's all I kept thinking was Boo Boo Kitty from Empire.
Yes! I have to say real quick though, I thought it was so funny at the start of the movie. So are we saying Jay Farrell and Yvonne Orji are the biggest stars of the movie and the ones who make the most money with that joke?
I picked up on that as well. And they probably are out of the cast if you think about it.
probably at this point the most well-known of the core cast, even though again some of the other folks are like, oh, I know you from these couple projects, I know you from Harlem, you know what I'm saying?
I
like
knew
there's
everyone
definitely
except
others.
for Dwayne, and her name is XO or X Mayo. I don't know why I keep wanting to call her XO. Maybe because we did XO Kitty.
I didn't know who she was.
I thought that was a funny joke because I was like, I guess they, again, being the couple, are seen as like the outlier of the crew in that way, but they also were the stars that would have been, you know, shining in the project possibly the most. But to your point about just the general dynamics, I feel like it was just like with any long-term friend group, like even though we're all friends, we have our separate cliques. So like the people who came either together or separate, it's like, yeah, we cool, but like, this is my clique that I roll like the toughest with of our group of friends and things like that. But I didn't, as soon as I saw Clifton in that store, I said, who is this man? Like, he does not fit with the rest of his crew.
That lip had me off.
I was like, what is
wrong with his
other?
mouth? Yeah, I was like, something's wrong with his mouth. Like, he was throwing me off too. And I was like,
And like, he didn't seem like he was friends with them. So I'm like, why are you here for this? Coming here for this celebration? If you weren't friends with the crew, I was confused.
Yeah, I get it. Me too.
So true. Hashtag no new friends. Ranger White stopped by and starts asking way too many questions. The group was able to shake him off. They all went into the house, started partying, started playing spades. Do y'all know how to play spades?
Absolutely.
Who taught you?
You know, I learned, my mom and them taught me, like, we knew how to play cards since we was born, like spades, tonk, I mean, all that. You just had to know how to play. So you just had to know.
I definitely know how to play spades, Delora.
Don't say you don't know how.
Listen, I do know how to play spades, but it's been a while, okay? And what I've also realized is white people got the same equivalent called euchre. I was like, so basically,
I don't even like the name.
Have y'all ever heard of euchre?
I have. And I've been in the room.
It's basically spades, except y'all pick what, you know, trumps or whatever. And I'm just like, but spade is a spade, right? No?
I, in my family, grew up with pool, cards, and bowling. Those were on both sides of the family strong. But I will tell you, I got scarred with spades as a kid because even as a kid, when you come on that table, it's intense, right? Like so it's not my favorite card game because I still have PTSD from those experiences. Anxiety. But I love playing cards though. Cards is still a good time.
Yeah, I love playing cards too.
All those activities sounds about Black to me.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I said I grew up, we was Black for real. Pool tables in the house and everything.
Ours was skating and cards. Like, you had to know how to skate. You had to backward skate. You had to have a washcloth in the pocket. You know, you had to have all that stuff.
Yes, all of that.
I have got to go skate. I've been talking about skating ever since Usher really started going hard again with the skate, and he's giving me so much like FOMO. Like, I've got to go to the skating rink and get some new skates. Like, I want my own skates again. Skating rink skates are gross.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah, I did all those activities. Like, my dad taught me how to play dominoes.
Smack that down on the table too.
Okay. I remember one of the first times I won. That's how I learned about like Lady Luck or the first time's a charm or whatever, because I beat him a couple of times and when I first started learning how to play. But definitely roller skated, definitely bowled. Yeah. The joys of Blackness. Everybody's partying, wondering where Morgan and Sean are. And also trying to figure out how on this green earth did Clifton get invited. Of course, the lights start flickering. They all check the power box and they find the game on the table, along with the video of Morgan being held prisoner. That was giving me major Jordan Peele vibes, a la Get Out with the TV and we have your hostage and all that. They must answer 10 questions correctly to free their friend. They are very Black questions. Do y'all know the second verse of Lift Every Voice and Sing?
No. Bro. Dead, gone.
Dead. And I thought I had it too. I was sitting there. I paused the movie. I was like, I started singing. I was like, oh, I got it. And I was like, damn.
Me too.
But listen, I'm gone on the Aunt Viv question. I said 2 seasons.
Listen, I sat there and I was like, I was doing all the kind of calculations and trying to rationalize. And I was like,
they were like, Alex, no, light skin.
I ain't got it. No.
Those were good questions.
They were some good fantastic questions, y'all. A lot of people don't believe me, but all my education has been very, very Black up until college. And meaning like very Black schools, like Lift Every Voice and Sing was like numero uno before the Pledge of Allegiance. You know what I mean? In terms of learning it. And so I legit was like singing it from the first verse on. And I'm like, did Beyonce sing this in Coachella?
That's what I said. I went back to Coachella and I was just like, man, when I was in the audience, I don't remember this. And
you were there?
Yes, we went to Coachella, honey. We had to. We are in the Beehive. Hello.
Of course.
I don't think Erikka's like, I'm not new to this. I will never doubt you again.
Yeah. I will never doubt you again, Eric.
The fact that Erikka knows.
Absolutely amazing.
I knew that Erikka was real about this Beehive situation when she started naming off where Beyonce was today, tomorrow. In probably order. Next week. I'm like, so you like order. The dates and the
I need to know where my girl is in case I just have to, pull an Alabama sweet tea party on somebody and I need to get to Beyonce. I gotta know where she at. So,
I love this. I love this so much. Wait, my question is, let's go down this quick rabbit hole. Do you think she'll ever do a residency in Vegas?
When she's 60?
It'll be a long time. But what I would love for her to do is just a very intimate show, like how they used to do, what was that, Unplugged on MTV?
Yeah.
A nice Unplugged. Yes, like just do one of them. But it'll be a long time because she's not about to be doing 50, 60 shows. Like that's a pretty demanding. I just can't see.
More so than a world tour?
You're right. But then also I don't know if the production is going to be enough for her. Like, I just don't feel like it's got the production level for her. You know what I mean? Like, we're Virgos. We want everything over the top. Just,
She's still Beyonce. Like, you have to give her some space and distance to not have the level of demand. Not that first of all, Vegas residencies are way different than our youth, right? Because back in the day, Vegas residencies were where you went towards the end of your career, all this and that. So with Britney Spears, with Usher, with all these people who still have length in their career, Adele doing it, it's not what it was, but she is the biggest entertainer in the world. So Beyonce is not at a point to be doing no Vegas residency.
We on Renaissance Act 1. We still got 2 and 3. So ain't no way she ain't going no time soon.
And if she did, them tickets would be $10,000. Yeah. Like if she did, the demand
I'm about to go into my 401k for that. I'm about to go into my 401k and get my
the fact that you were so dead ass with this. You were so dead ass.
I'm going to my 401k.
Life is about experiences, honey.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm okay.
Out of all the questions, because I think they were up to like 9, the Friends question is the one that the group got wrong. I thought that was hilarious considering Aisha was the first person that came to mind. I'm like, I know there was literally like 2 Black people on Friends. Did y'all watch Friends?
Never seen a rerun, never seen none of it. No. I mean, you know what? Literally growing up, I don't think I watched hardly any like white TV except for Blossom because it came on after Cosby Show before Different World. So that's Blossom, literally the only reason I watched Blossom is it was kind of just like, okay, I can go eat, keep the TV on. It was in between. But other than that, like I just didn't watch a lot of TV sitcoms or whatever that had primarily like white people in it.
See, I watched TGIF, so I caught all of those shows like Step by Step and the dinosaurs don't count because they not Black or white, they dinosaurs, but y'all know it felt like, well, the baby kind of felt Black. I don't know.
It did.
Point is those shows
the
like
mama.
Yeah, when we were kids, Blossom is a good one though, but a lot of those like kid shows I definitely watch. I can blame working in television for why I ever watched an episode of Friends because Friends sucks to me. Like of even the white like sitcoms, like me and Delora have talked about it. Like I love shows like Frasier.
Frasier is my show.
Never seen it.
I still love a lot of workplace comedies like The Office and Parks and Rec and stuff like that. But Friends, I never vibed with that show. I didn't really care for the cast like that. Just nothing about it like felt relatable to me, I guess, in terms of, the way it was written and stuff. And so literally Aisha Tyler is the only one, because I feel like she was the longest running like Black cast member that I ever saw on a few episodes. Other than that, I was like, I couldn't name you another Black person that has ever stepped foot on that show.
Mind you, they were in New York City, which is also
just like Sex in the City, which they're
That's
trying to redeem
going back
now.
Watching the old ones. I'm like, I didn't really watch it when it first came on, but we were on the airplane coming back from somewhere, and I was like, oh, let me watch it. And I was like, there's no Black people on this show, but the new one is full of everybody. And I'm like, how did we get from not one Black person on here to now?
Because they were called out.
Yeah, I was like, so we got Black, gay, queer, transgender, everything on here. And I'm like, okay, so I see y'all just trying to be in style, kind of like how L Word is. Y'all probably didn't watch that, but it's the same thing with L Word, the new one now. It's like, so now y'all want to be so DEI and include everybody unauthentically, but okay.
Yeah, I think Samantha had like
authentically.
I think Samantha had like one Black lover in the original series. And that was him and his sister were the only Black people I remember ever seeing in the original Sex and the City. Wild.
Wow. That's crazy.
Insanity. Because they got it wrong. And as we know, this is a high pressure game. They are forced to choose who's the Blackest, which leads me to ask, what is Blackness? It seems like a solely American term for culture because our enslaved ancestors were stripped from theirs, right? It encompassed so many cultures from the diaspora, let alone the regional impact of Blackness. We're talking about East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. We're all Midwest girls, and the dirty South. And even taking a look at the group, we have Allison, the very pro-Black biracial chick, right? We have Clifton, who I call the whack Urkel. King, the light-skinned Negro reform thug who married a white woman. Shanika, who's, I hate to say it, the resident big girl. I don't know, but she swims and she's kind of bougie. We have Dwayne, who's the gay BFF, super hilarious. Lisa, the accomplished lawyer with the indecisive relationship. Namdi, who's supposed to be African, and the reformed cheater. Who defines Blackness? Who dishes out these cards, y'all?
That was my favorite part. Like, honestly, of the movie, this section deciding who was Black, and in the end you chose the least Black person because he voted for somebody white. Like, right? You literally said, forget the question, we're going with you because you didn't do what we deem to be a Black thing, which was just vote for the Democrat. You voted for Trump. We don't care what your reasoning was. You did. They forgot the question, just said, forget the question, bro. You said you voted for Trump, not once, but twice. So that was my favorite part of the movie because I just think about myself personally or my friend group or, just, the people that I'm in contact with and just thinking about their level of Blackness. And I'm just like, there's some people that I would consider super, super, to be Black, like, when it comes to knowing all Black history, the Black facts, the Black this, supporting Black businesses. I get all of that, but they may be married to somebody white. So now are you not Black enough because you're married to somebody white? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whether it's white man, right? So does that kind of diminish it? And then it's just like all these things like, well, like Dwayne said, well, I can't be the Blackest because I'm gay. And that's a white people thing, right? So it's just like all of these different things start to come into play. You like, Dad, how do we judge the Blackness? How do we quantify our Blackness? Like it's like playing Black Card Revoke. Like when you're playing that game, you got to play to the audience in the room. You got to play, especially the ones part of the card, you got to play to your audience. So it's just like, it's so subjective, but I really love that part of the game because it really just taught us a lot about ourselves. Like when you think about, oh, they not Black. And I'm like, but what do you mean? Like it's a spectrum of Blackness.
Absolutely.
I think Erikka summed it up. Totally subjective. I think once you get like on social media or something like that, then it becomes like a herd mentality, right? Of like deciding something, but on an individual basis, it's so hard to say. It would be impossible to choose. And then you're also adding the added pressure of this person is going to be sent out to die.
To die.
So you're also equating my blackness and me saying I'm the blackest with also forcing me to die. Like, and that's already
the value of my life.
Yeah, it's already something we struggle with so much in society. Like, I was like, this is traumatic. Just like coupling these two things together for the sake of this film was a bit traumatic. So it would be hard to say, but at the same time, I agreed with their decision ultimately. Send out the Trump supporter and let it be done.
Yeah, I was with you. And it's kind of like that Issa Rae, like I'm for everything black, but when everybody in the room is black and I got to decide who ain't the blackest of the black, and it's just like, dang, yeah, homeboy, you got to go.
Yep.
Well, let's also consider this as well. He had to go because his behavior was anti-black, right? Like, we care about our community too much for us to be playing around with some votes for 45.
And let's also be honest, he's the outlier of the group because he ain't nobody's friend for real. Like, if I have to choose in that moment, whose friend are you, Clifton? I mean,
you black,
sorry.
but you ain't my black friend, so you ain't my black friend. So.
Like, I'm so sorry to your mama and your daddy.
Yeah.
But it gotta be you. Yep. Like, I would have been Lisa. I would have been like heartbroken about it, but been like,
oh,
yeah.
Deuces. So he goes. Chris Brown. I'm thinking about that. Speaking of my blackness, so he goes outside and gets shot by an arrow. So I want to take a minute really quick to talk about Dwayne Perkins, who is one of the writers of this movie. He's the one who played Dwayne in the actual film as well. He did this fantastic interview with Variety. It's called The Blackening Mastermind, Dwayne Perkins on tackling horror movie and the gay BFF tropes and future plans. Quote, "It's giving franchise." I'm going to reference this article a couple of times in this discussion. And one of the things that was important to him is the desire not to use guns. So we know this is a slasher horror film, and it was an interesting choice to use a bow and arrow. He has here, he's like, if I was consuming this, what would make me leave the theater in the best spirit? And he said, that's why, for example, the killer's weapon of choice is a crossbow. What is something that can instill fear and harm to someone without being visually traumatic? Because I don't want Black people in particular to come and see this movie and be triggered. That's why there's not a lot of guns.
You know, I definitely noticed it from the beginning, the bow and arrows. I also attributed it to like living in the woods. Like, those people have a lot of bow and arrows. Like, it's something that white people use a lot for hunting, different things like that. So I'm like, it would naturally be in the house. It's something that would naturally be wherever they were at. So I kind of contributed it to that. And then, I don't know, then I was like, okay, you know, maybe you want the people to suffer. So, right, is as a bow and arrow, like something, I didn't think about his perspective of it so much as what he just said, but I'm like, okay. You know, you want them to suffer? Do you want them to die right away? Because I don't know, like, from a bow and arrow, do you die right away or you suffer? Because I mean, everybody was pulling them out, so I'm like, maybe that was also the point of it too. Like, so, you know, but I definitely noticed it. But I just thought it was like, that's a weapon of choice for people that, you know, live in the woods because they're hunters. So, and we're being hunted, so it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
I appreciate the forethought about that, but they could have been using a pencil and it still would have been traumatic to me because, again, I don't like horror, and anything that you're using for the sake of taking lives is going to be traumatic. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely, to your point, Erikka, thought about it more of like what would be around for these folks. And also, I feel like in slashers, people get creative. Like, all of those, the Freddys, the Jasons, all of those, like, it's not just a gun that these people are using to like take people out. Exactly. So it's like, oh, it's just another part of that like lore of like slasher horror movies is, you know, you're not just gonna pick up a 9mm and start taking people out if you the bad guy. You gotta be a little more creative than that. So that's how I looked at it.
Speaking of 9mm, right? Like how Namdi was holding the gun. They were like, "No."
And the dude was like, "Straighten it up, man. Why you are not in Menace to Society? Why are you like that?"
He's a lover, not a fighter.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, the group does the most unthinkable thing, y'all. They split up. Of all things, why? Why would they do this? Was there an opportunity for all of them to stay together and survive?
Not only did they split up, they split up by color. Did y'all know that?
The
brown skinned black people. You didn't know that? The brown skinned black people stayed in the house. The light skinned black people went outside. Did y'all not know that?
Here is how they were broken up. We had Lisa, Nnamdi, and Dwayne together
in the
house, and we had King, a very focused Allison, and Shanika, who went out to the lake.
Would you consider Shanika light skin though? So I didn't consider her
on the lighter skin spectrum. Like, y'all get what I'm saying though? Like, literally, that was what I noticed. I was like, why is it separated almost by like color divide a little bit? I get that to a certain extent. To a certain extent, Nnamdi and Lisa wanted to stay together for being a couple.
Yes.
And Dwayne, Lisa is her best friend. But I don't know if anybody else watching will check that, but I was like, that's a little weird to me.
I kind of thought like, okay, so you got the injured people. I felt like you put the slow kind of people together. So they both injured and you assume because she's heavy set that she is not going to be somebody that can be nimble, but she was out there swimming, getting it. You know what I mean? So it was just like, you got the two people injured with the bow and arrow on the drugs. And then you have her. Like everybody else is like, okay, so the people that haven't been as injured, we going to do this and put the other people over here. So I do see the colorism part of it, but I also just kind of separated by like disability and like those are the people that they can't really do nothing, so let them be on.
Why would they send the injured outside though? Like, why not get the injured in the house?
Y'all
gonna make the injured people run and go try to fight out.
I appreciate these interpretations of this film so much. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite moments in the entire movie happened outside though. She's like, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, y'all know how to finish this.
You better wake up and pay attention.
I just love the references. I'm like, I love all of this. And it's our generation too.
Yeah.
Like, chef's kiss, y'all. Chef's kiss.
Oh, but we didn't answer your question, your actual question. Did they have to split up? I don't know if they had to, but I think that for the sake of the movie and how things were going, it felt like we're all just sitting ducks if we don't try to form some type of strategy. So I got the desire to like try something to see if, this would help with this new challenge, which was he basically told them, if y'all don't want to play the game, whoever survives is basically how this is about to go down. And y'all have 3 minutes to figure it out before I come hunt you. So what are our options?
Yes. And they couldn't agree. So it's like some people wanted to do one thing, some people wanted to do something else. So it's just like, hey, you know what? At this point, you got to do what's best for yourself. Like,
and Erikka, ain't that group trip dynamics anyway? Like, you know what? Yeah. I want to stay at the hotel. Y'all want to go out and adventure.
All right.
Exactly. The cabin at some points did remind me a little bit of Us, though. Did y'all catch that?
I ain't watched that shit.
Of course,
I ain't watched that.
I love Us. It was good.
It was good.
It did. You know what was weird, and this is just like a me thing. I'm like, it's Juneteenth. Why did y'all have the fireplace on? Like, I thought about that from the time I seen the fireplace on.
Because it's typical horror.
Yeah, I was like, y'all, come on, do better. Why is the fireplace on in June? Okay, that has nothing to do with anything.
That's so funny. Well, and then like every horror film, especially a good slasher, the longest night ever, right?
Ever. Like, it's been night for like 10 days.
The only reprieve is when the light comes, right? So yeah, as I mentioned, they were broken up into groups. Let's go ahead and get into this, the major subplot of this film with Nnamdi, Lisa, and Dwayne. So basically, Dwayne is upset that Lisa has reconciled with a whole man without telling him. And he's basically asking her to put some respect on his name. Again, looking at the article, he talked about how for Dwayne's character arc, he wanted the platonic friendship under a microscope since movies often prioritize romantic love instead. I did notice that too, because a lot of horror films, there's a lot of sexy time, a lot of virgins, a lot of like, you know what I mean?
Yep. And you live and die. You live and die by your sexual appetite.
Yeah.
Very male gaze, right? Straight white male gaze, frankly, when it comes to the romantic and horror films. But as I mentioned, it focused on the best friend relationship, and he totally feels betrayed after spending so much time and energy on drying Lisa's tears. He says, for somebody who feels like they have gave so much to essentially be deprioritized because of a man who mistreated you, having the conversation in the film and giving space to gay best friends, often they're not allowed to discuss what that friendship means. I'm like, preach, sir. Preach, preacher.
You know, it was refreshing to see, like you said, we didn't have to have that whole, sexual thing, girl in the shower, knife, coming down, and I see both sides of it. I think at some point, you got to let go of what was in the past, like the whole 10 years, it's been 10 years since past, and they're both adults and people change, people grow. And I think that we all would like to think that we're prioritizing people's lives. Like, oh, you got to come to me and be like, hey, me and so-and-so are getting back together, kind of wanting my stamp of approval, or my like, girl, don't do it, or okay, whatever. But, it's just when you get older, like you start making decisions for yourself, you know what I mean? But it is a thing of friendship. Like you want to be included, like you want to be thought of like an extension of your friend. And when that doesn't happen, like it's easy for your feelings to get hurt. And also she probably was just scared, embarrassed. Like, you know the worst of it. You know the worst of what happened. So for me to come circle back with you and be like, hey, we're back together. Of course you're going to be like, I don't know why you wasting your time. You already know what happened before. So you don't want to hear that. So instead of me even going through that, I'm going to just go ahead and get back with him. And, most of the time, like in friendships, you build a bridge and get over it. Which they seemingly did, but it still is hurtful. And I think there was some embarrassment and shame on her side, and then for him, he just felt like he was owed something.
In the course of the movie, I'll be honest, I did not care because, again, this is a horror film. We're trying to survive. True. I rarely have much tolerance. And even, Delora, I told you this about reading Fourth Wing recently. I rarely have much tolerance in life and death situations for sentiment and like emotional moments. Because I'm like, if I'm about to die or potentially die, I'm not having this type of conversation right now. Like, let's just get through tonight and then we can talk about this bullshit tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So in the course of the movie, it's like, I don't care, but I appreciate these tidbits because it does make me think differently. And I think it's beautiful to see a centering of like friendship conflict, because I do think that it's important to highlight all forms of relationships, all forms of love. And to that point, I think sometimes with friendships, we want to brush over conflict, and then people will have resentment and have issues, and they don't put that same emphasis that they will in their romantic partnership on resolving things. And so then you'll have like friendships that break up or just have distance because, hey, we never talked through our shit. So I do think that's great to still put the emphasis on friendship love as well, because it's super important. Like, who would we be without our friends and without our circle that, lifts us up, especially in times of issues like with Nnamdi? Because that's one thing too, though. Sometimes you gotta be careful what you share, because you may get over it someday, but your friends and family never get over that.
Very true.
And normally you never come back to them and tell them like, oh, we resolved it, or I didn't tell you what I did in the thing to kind of get there. Yep. Like it's always, he trash, whatever. So we like, oh, well, yep, he trash. You know what I'm saying? But you never said, well, okay, I forgot to tell y'all I did that. And you never come back and say, hey, we talked about it. We reconciled it. And so the last thing we know is he trash. So I don't know nothing else. You never came back and told me anything different. So I'm still thinking he trash, because that's how you've been acting for the last 10 years. So
yeah, definitely would need to know too, if I was her friend, like, what does Nnamdi do differently, and what has he done work-wise on himself to be a better man for you? Like, that would have been my question.
And that's a real thing as a friend.
King wasn't even convinced, and that's one of his closest friends. So
exactly, Delora, that conversation where he was like, you say the same thing every 2 years. I'm like, oh, so you a broken record. This ain't about to work.
Nope.
In the split groups, they both knocked down some of the killers, and we find out that they are twins. For the light-skinned crew, according to Ashley, they got rid of the one-eyed clerk from the gas station, and Lisa, Nnamdi, and Dwayne got his brother. Oh, one more thing about Lisa, Nnamdi, and Dwayne. They thought they were going to leave with the ranger, and that didn't happen. Would y'all have trusted that white man to get in that car?
No white savior in this film, baby.
Nope. I don't care if he had the purest, best intentions. It's a hard no.
The swiftness
and I'd be like, leave them
of this
keys
answer.
right here before you run off. Leave them keys in this car, because if we need to pull off Ranger, you are done. So leave them keys. Don't leave us in here without them keys. Like, I don't got no trust for you. Zero.
None.
That's facts. And he was law enforcement to some certain extent. Like, you're playing too much with my trust to think. But you know, the fact that the actor who played it was freaking Jed Clampett, like, I did have a little bit of like sentimentality for him, because I've seen him play this other. Yeah, I've seen him play this other like adorable role, but in reality, no. To your point,
and
Erikka,
in the woods,
we would have stole his car. Like,
yeah,
I would have stole his car a minute ago. Like, I remember, like, God bless you. Your car's the only one that's running. I'm so sorry. Like, if you leave, it's over for you.
You are hostage.
I'm out. Yep, I'm
you
out.
Are my hostage. You get in this car. Don't go back to save nobody else.
Put your ass in the trunk. Yeah, I got to go.
We got to go now.
Everybody else's tires are slashed or run through.
Bow and arrow.
Exactly. In the grand finale, we find out that it was, in fact, Clifton behind all the murders. Apparently, 10 years ago, during their last outing, they questioned his blackness during one of their card games. And he was so upset about it, he got heavily drunk and ended up killing a young woman on his way home. He served 4 years in prison, and he has been plotting revenge this whole time. Did y'all see this coming?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a little inkling. I was just like, the way he walked about that room, you know, they opened that door so quick for him. And I was just like, nah, like something just didn't seem right about him. I was just like, he's in it some type of way. He's in cahoots with these people. I wasn't sure how it was going to end, but I knew he was in cahoots.
I knew from the gas station he could not be trusted. Yep.
Yeah,
he could not be trusted.
Android #1. Anybody with an Android, don't.
And I felt so attacked because I have an Android. I'm sorry. I was like, this is the bullshit. We can never get a break.
I can't breathe.
That green bubble will drive me up a wall.
We can never get a break. Vilifying Android users in this movie. I'm so glad you brought that up because I damn near forgot. I was like, listen, this propaganda for Apple products is getting out of control.
I buy into it. I tell people, they like, so-and-so's better. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's better, faster, quicker, sharper, all Apple everything till the day I die. It doesn't matter. I don't want the green bubble. We're just not gonna be able to text. We have to talk on Instagram. You realize
you only see a green bubble because you're an Apple user. If you had
That's
Android,
fine, because
you'd be able to customize your colors.
I know one person with an Android, and they even went and got an iPhone just to be a part of our group chat. Like they have 2 phones to be in our group chat.
And that's
I don't care what you do on your time off, but with us, you have got to have an Apple phone. It's just
It's the peer
part
pressure.
Of your blackness. It is your blackness.
It's the peer pressure. How can it be a part of my blackness when it's still a white-owned company? Like, there's nothing black about any of these tech companies for me that I subscribe to.
Right. Yeah, that's just how we roll. Like, that's the kind of stuff we throw out when we be talking about blackness. That's just what we say. We just say things like that. Like,
it's such crazy marketing because it is peer pressure. Like, I feel the peer pressure, always have, to switch to a damn iPhone. I'm like, I have a Mac now, so I can FaceTime y'all on my Mac. Still debating the iPhone thing because my mother.
Problem solved then. As long as you could FaceTime, that's cool. We could.
My mother is team, but my mom works in tech and is team Android so hard. Is like, you about to go to the dark side? I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this. The only reason why I ever decided between an Android and an iPhone is because I got an Android for free and an iPhone's gonna cost me $200. I don't care. I do not care. But I feel attacked at all times.
It's true. I mean, I attack anybody with an Android. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't even want to hear your story.
I thought we was friends, Erikka. I mean,
we still are, but it's
I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about that.
The Android.
Well, of course, the group defeats the big bad. Who should the group call with dead white bodies in the house? Because that was the question at the end of this movie.
Ghostbusters, baby. I don't know who the fuck you're supposed to call.
Nah, me neither. And I was just thinking, like, how close are we to like the next house? I mean, you can't go there because they're gonna be like, what am I gonna do with these 7 black people at my door? They're not gonna help you. So then I'm like, we can't go back to the corner store.
Nope. And you can't leave your car there because there's registration.
And then your car is no good because they done shot your tires out with the bow and arrows. But you should have a spare. I mean, between all them tires, they should have had 4 good tires. I mean, you got to break down every car and get 4 good tires on somebody's car.
I guess I'm calling the NAACP and letting them know where
AAA.
I am and asking for advice.
Can you call AAA, roadside assistance? Can we call any of those people? Is our phone still working? Because I got to call roadside assistance.
I love these answers so much.
I meant to go back real quick about Clifton because I know we kind of went on the phone tangent and I forgot that I wanted to say the thing that got me about Clifton is his lack of accountability. How you gonna blame now? But it's twofold, right? Because I know that there can be things in life that like trigger somebody and they have like mental health issues and they never recover from that. Like it reminded me of, remember, did y'all used to watch Jenny Jones? And remember people used to bring like their bullies on and confront them years later. I was like, that's what this feels like a little bit to me. But it was like, how do you have no accountability for the fact that you got so drunk that you killed a woman? Like even his phrasing where he said she got in front of my car. Like, no,
in front of my car.
You ran her down accidentally. But you know what I'm saying? Like the lack of accountability was glaring to me. Glaring.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. He was just, from the moment like you said, from the moment he stepped on the screen, it gave that. Like from the moment that he was in the corner store, he just gave irresponsible, he gave lost, he gave not fully developed, like he gave all of that to me. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, and then looking back at the game and finding out, his true agenda, my main question is, even if they had gotten all 10 questions right, including that friend's question, would have Clifton let them go?
No.
I don't think so.
Because he was more mad that they put him up. Like the questions were one thing, but he mentioned like, and you guys are still questioning my blackness. Like they sacrificed him. So regardless, he wanted them gone because y'all sacrificed him. Now, had he not got sacrificed, he might have felt redeemed. Like, okay, but then it also would have depended on who he sacrificed because we saw that at the end where he wasn't happy when she put herself up. He's like, no, that's not Lisa. The right answer. So we don't, that's what I'm like. He was worried about himself. Like his ego was still crushed and hurt from being that teenager from 10 years ago. He just hadn't got over that. And that's a lot of people, like you mentioned, like the people on Jenny Jones, like he was holding on to that so tough and so tight. Like he was just so angry that they still didn't think that he was enough. And he still wasn't a cool kid.
It's such a good question, though, because I was thinking, like, had the outcome of the game been different in some capacity, would that have changed anything? But my thing is, you never gave Sean and Morgan the chance to even survive and live. So that would have still had to come to a head in some shape or form anyway. And my thing was like, were they the worst of it that you didn't even give them a chance?
Yeah.
I was just
always next question. Like, why did they go so quick? Like, why were they like the first victims?
You did not even give them
stay.
You didn't even give them opportunity to live for real. Like, so I was just curious. That's a really good question. If there could have been possibly any other outcome, but to your point, I think he was already resolved in himself that he was going to take out as many of them as he could.
And are we not going to just quickly talk about her wig coming off when they thought they was going to snatch her scalp off, and then it was her wig and she took off?
Just like in They Clone Tyrone. Yes. Shout out to the wigs. Okay, they be saving lives.
It saved her a little bit. You know what I mean? She didn't fully make it, but it gave her another day to fight. Another few hours because that wig came off and my girl was out of there.
That is so funny. I forgot about that, actually. Ooh, thank you for bringing that up. Final thoughts, ladies.
I liked it. I was not expecting it. When I heard different people talk about it, I've heard nothing but good things, but I won't say that I was running to go watch it. So when you said we were reviewing it, I was like, oh, good. Okay. Because I had been wanting to watch it. So I was actually very impressed with it. And everybody that, I've been telling, like, y'all should go watch it. Like, y'all can use my login for like 48 hours and hurry up and watch it before.
Real quick.
I got 48 hours, y'all. Hurry up. But I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I was so glad when this movie was over because, again, and not even just that, I fast forwarded. I'm gonna be let me be completely honest and transparent. I fast forwarded like 3/4 of the way in, just like, who survives? And then I went back and finished watching it because my blood pressure was raised.
To the back of the book?
Yes. I just had to know. I was like, are they gonna make it? They not gonna make it. I just needed to know. That's why I don't do horror like that. But like I said, the relatability, even to your point, the Sister Act 2 reference, like all of it, I really thought like the script was so good and everybody was so funny with the parts that they played and the way that they rounded out this cast. So we made it through. What about you, Delora?
My final thoughts. So a couple of facts and a couple of, my thoughts. So this film had a micro budget of $5 million, and at the box office, it made $17 million, which is a bona fide success, and overall critically acclaimed. So bravo to everyone involved in this movie. I really enjoy Grace in this comedic role. Like, she was hilarious to me. I'm like, yes, and yes, we do watch Harlem too, but like, I don't know. I love seeing her work because she was definitely one of the standouts from a very Black show. Shout out to Empire. Those first 2 seasons were everything.
They were.
I miss her with that short haircut. She looked beautiful with that short haircut.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What else?
Oh yeah, her joke about her dad in this movie. Hilarious.
Yeah, it was good too. Yeah, that was a good
hilarious.
Yes.
Every time he gets upset, I'm waiting on the murder suicide. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I love it. I love it.
That was phenomenal.
I lied. I do have one more question for y'all. Is this movie giving franchise? Can you see sequels? In the same article that I was referencing before, he says that he would like to move forward with the same cast with some new blood versus like a Knives Out anthology where there's like new people. But can you see it? Would you watch?
I mean, I would want them to just let this be. I like the genre that it's going. I would be willing to watch other storylines like it, like similar. I don't know if I necessarily would want to continue this journey.
I don't want them to be traumatized multiple times. Like, this was a lot. Yeah.
I'm okay.
This was a lot. We always gonna put them in a life or death situation to this extent? Nah. Yeah.
Okay, Grey's Anatomy. My final thought personally is I kind of wish there was more of a supernatural aspect to it, or just what they call it, something realism, like a Jumanji, like, magical element, or I don't know. It would have been nice to have an element of that personally.
Girl, if a demon had popped up, I would have been like, Delora, I'm not finishing this movie. Like, that's
I'm not saying a demon, but
like
what
more
if the ancestors come out?
Yeah, conjuring up some ancestral spirits from the water that's near the cabin.
Okay. Like what happened in Alabama.
Woo, boy.
Did y'all see there were women who had an ancestral ceremony hours before that brawl?
Yes. No, I heard that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And they gave flowers and they acknowledged all our ancestors who were slaved and died on that river.
And the ancestors definitely moved them that day.
They turned up that day, baby, because let me tell you, they would have had to carry me across that water because I was like, but the ancestors would have made it happen.
Mr. Co-Captain, I was like, he had a praying grandmama, because like fact that he was jumped and all the help came. Thank you.
All the type of Black people came. All the different type of Black people came.
Aquaman and everything.
They call him Shaquille O'Gills. They had like the top 10 names on Twitter, and number 1 was Shaquille O'Gills. That was the number 1 name.
Oh my goodness. Michael B. Phelps.
Yeah, I laughed at that. It was some good ones.
Erikka, it has been an absolute privilege having you on our podcast. How can our guests get a hold of you?
If you are local, even if you're not, you can follow me on Instagram, engage with me on Instagram. So my business is BY District 78, and my personal is Coach Erikka, and that's Erikka with 2 Ks. I love pop culture, so I love to engage in all things pop culture, and I love all things Beyonce, all things Jay-Z, I'm going to say this. I hope y'all don't hate me. I've never seen Sister Act 2. So
we have to change this. We have to change this immediately.
It's Brittany's favorite movie.
You have Lauren Hill.
You
have
Cheryl in her vocal prowess.
Ralph.
You have the one guy from City High. I can never remember his name, but he had vocals. Yep. Yeah, you know City High. Yep.
I've never seen it.
Oh, Happy Day.
Ooh.
I heard it enough, and when people they're like, "You know this," I'm like, I know that it's from there because everybody sings it, but I've never seen it. Never seen it.
Come and join the chorus, the mighty, mighty chorus. Oh, Erikka.
It's available. It's out there. Don't worry. Delora just saw Love Jones. Nope. Because Delora just saw Love Jones in the last few years as well.
I'm not a fan of Love Jones either. I've seen it, but I'm not a Love Jones fan. I'm sorry. It's overhyped, but I've seen it.
But Delora, see, I feel that way.
I thought you liked Love Jones.
It was fine. It was, well, I can't remember. But the one I really dislike that everybody loves is Love and Basketball. It's a no for me.
Now that, let me tell you, it was just on Bounce last night because, you know, Bounce got all the hood movies. Yes! And that was on last night, and I watched Bounce. It was a part where
she did too much for that man in that movie. She did too much for him.
I love that movie.
I love all of them. So,
okay, Ashley, time for Hidden Gems.
All right, I have 2 for this week. The first one, I can't remember if I've talked about this show or not, but it is Physical on Apple TV Plus. I had started it at one point in time, couldn't get into it, fell back into it after I watched Platonic on Apple TV Plus because this is starring Rose Byrne.
Yes,
and so
Rose.
I love Rose as well. In this series, she's a fitness instructor and personality and all of this. And they just started the 3rd season and I'm invested now. Like went back, rewatched seasons 1 and 2, and I'm invested. And it's just an interesting journey for her and a different role for her than a lot of other things that I've seen. So I'm enjoying season 3 currently. Again, that's on Apple TV Plus. And then my second hidden gem is Fisk on Netflix. This was like in Netflix's top 10. So I decided to give it a shot. It's an Australian workplace comedy, which again, I love a good workplace comedy.
Yeah.
So and I usually love anything like BBC and Australian. So
the humor, the humor is dry. And
yes.
and it's set in a wills and probate law firm after the main character joins because like her personal life implodes. 12 episodes rather in the first season, and I thought it was funny. Like I'll probably end up watching it again because I was a little bit distracted during some of the episodes, but it's just one of those. It's just like from episode to episode just kind of builds on itself and the humor is there, and that's what I enjoy. So if you like kind of the dry workplace comedies, this one might be up your alley. So those are my 2 hidden gems. Delora, what about you?
All right, Ashley. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out this book series that I have been completely engulfed by. It is fantasy, is YA. It is highly popular. It is called The Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. So I've talked about her before. I'm a huge fan of Book Talk and Bookstagram favorite, A Court of Thorns and Roses. But this is actually her first series where there's freaking 7 books. And as you know, I usually don't like to commit to series more than maybe 3 to 4 books. But because this series is over and I enjoyed her one series so thoroughly, because I've read literally almost everything she's written at this point, because I've read the Crescent City series as well. I am currently on book 5 of this series. And these are thick. And as you know, I am also listening to audiobooks because Lord knows I probably still will have a good pacing about it because it's a very intriguing story, but it's very big on world building, multiple POVs. It's giving Game of Thrones for like young people, like just multiple points of views and war, drama, mystery, a little bit of romance sprinkled in. It's been a joy. So
yes, to a series being done
of Glass, girl. I told you.
I just finished Fourth Wing, and I'm like, the second book ain't available till November.
It's this year. Yep.
Damn.
You're welcome. Though it was. We'll talk about this offline, Ashley. All right, Erikka.
And it's not like other people don't watch it, but The Chi recently came back on this weekend. And so I'm really excited about The Chi coming back. And so I watched the first episode today. And I'm just so impressed about the development of the characters and just how they started, just like watching some of the kids grow up in the storyline and how they kind of interweave some of the more, you know, kind of taboo subjects that we have, like, you know, dating a transgender woman. You know, it's just so many different things, you know, politics and wanting to get ahead, but only being able to get ahead if, like, you know, your drug dealer uncle kind of fuels your life. But they've really added some like really grown kind of storylines to The Chi, and it's developed very, very nicely. So I'm excited about that. And then book wise, I started reading a book called Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead. If you're familiar with him, he wrote the book Nickel Boys, which is probably one of my favorite books. It's a really, really good book.
I'm gonna check it out.
And so the one I'm reading now is called Harlem Shuffle, and I know I really just like his perspective. It's like very like it feels like home. Like it feels like somebody you literally know, like the person up the street, like that. And this one is particularly about a guy who owns like an appliance store in Harlem. And it's all about, and I think I also like it because it's like about being an entrepreneur where you kind of get stuck in it and it's not super, super lucrative, but you do it because you have a passion for it. But it also shows like the connectiveness to his community and how Harlem is changing because he's like in the midst of like a technology boom. And so he's feeling lost and feeling like, you know, how do I remain who I am in this thing where people, you know, technology is changing. Like there's no more black and white. Now it's these big black, you know, these big TVs and flat screens and all these type of things. So he's feeling a bit lost in the transition, but he's such a staple in his neighborhood. So I really just appreciate that kind of growth that you have to have in being able to pivot as an entrepreneur. And Colson Whitehead is an amazing writer.
I was just going to say, I love that The Chi is still going strong because I was like, watched it early on and it was so heavy, so quick that like I went away from it. And then I heard about the controversy that happened, you know, some of the cast, all of that. And so I was just, and then I heard that they had like changed so much with the storyline because of that. So I wasn't sure where things stood now with The Chi. So I may have to give The Chi another try to kind of get into it again. So love to hear that.
It's good.
Again, Erikka, appreciate you joining us for our recap of The Blackening. Hope you enjoyed yourself and had a good time. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this film and that you enjoyed this episode. Please follow us on all the things. Share this episode with friends, family, coworkers, whoever. We appreciate it. Delora and I will be back with more on Thursday. In the meantime, be blessed.
Bye. Peace out.